Cancel the recording and start again once.
Yes, yes. Okay. Yes. Hi, Ramesh. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, this would be the first round interview for you as of now.
Okay.
So let me pull up your resume as of now. Okay.
Mhm.
Hi, Ramesh. This is Sumant from Sai. From the side. Can you please introduce yourself? What kind of roles you have done and what kind of experience you have in Azure, uh, and how long you've been associated with this present organization. Could you please let me know your background?
Okay. Hi. This is Ramesh
Okay.
Damani. So myself, I'm working with Azure DevOps from past 4 to 5 years. So
Okay.
mainly, I work with configuration of storage accounts,
Okay.
configuration of VNets,
Okay.
configuration of subnets,
Okay.
and configuration of VNet peerings. And when we come into networking, so we worked with the class A type of IP addresses,
Okay.
and we worked with multiple load balancers.
Okay.
So and actually, what we do is when we come into our work environment, so we deploy .NET based web applications
Okay.
in remote servers.
Okay.
Uh, so and when you come with DevOps, so we do use CI/CD pipelines
Okay.
and to create resources and for automation level, we use PowerShell
Okay.
and combination with ARM templates. So creating when we come to creating resources in Azure cloud like storage accounts and updating the blobs and VNet creating. So all the resources
Okay.
mainly creating we use ARM templates
Okay.
and for managing resources it's easy to use PowerShell.
Okay.
So we do use PowerShell scripting
Okay.
and all those and uh, rare cases we use Terraform and
Okay.
a little bit of Kubernetes and container apps like Docker.
Oh.
Uh,
Okay.
so overall, so mainly what I'm saying is
Okay.
when we come into outlining my project, so mainly it's like Azure Infra,
Okay.
Azure DevOps, and PowerShell combination with ARM templates.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah.
Okay, so total, how many years of experience in Azure, and like how much is relevant and how much is total? Like how long?
So actually, I worked as a system administrator
Okay,
before entering into jobs. I worked in that like 1 year. So after jobs picked up, so we know that how AWS picked up. So I entered into Azure jobs on the like 2016 itself. So it's like overall it's 4 plus and relevant is 3 plus. Uh, yeah. So before Azure jobs, I worked as system administrator. So you know that nowadays system administrators are they close out their job and they are converting into jobs
got it, got it, got it, got it,
yeah,
got it.
yeah, like,
So, like, have you worked on VNet, right? You have worked on VNet, right?
yes, VNS, yeah,
Okay,
virtual networks, yes.
okay. What is it? What is it? VNet, like how you have configured?
Yeah, configuration of VNet. When we come into configuration of VNet, so basically, when we in an organization, so yeah, when you start a project from scratch, so we at that time basically we there is a requirement of creating VNets.
Okay,
So if in a project, it's enough. I think one VNet if it is planned perfectly, so it's enough creating one minute.
right,
Basically in our project, what happened is
right.
so the planning team while starting the project, they didn't plan it perfectly. So later on we created like two more minutes, like because some IP addresses are collapsing. So
Okay,
so that's why. We created like multiple VNets and multiple subnets,
Okay.
and we also use like service endpoints.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay. So have you heard of like NAC card?
yeah, it's a network interface card, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so when we come into NIC card, so basically, for example, when we create a server, remote server,
Okay.
so every server, for example, we create a VNet, and next level we create a subnet, and the subnet will be created on the naming convention.
Okay.
Uh, and if you need that, if you need a intranet, Azure intranet, if you want to use Azure intranet for like security reasons,
Mm.
so we have to enable the service endpoints.
Right, right.
So the NIC card is a software actually. Even our local machine, like our local machine also has a NIC card. So it is basically a software
Okay.
where the IP address is sitting.
Understood. Okay. Okay. So so have you like have you heard of like have you worked with what kind of IPs have you used IPv4 or IPv6 or what was
Yeah, 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 yeah. Basically, actually, in our organization, and I like before I worked in some before one organization. So I worked like three organizations before.
mm-hmm.
So all the organizations mostly nowadays are using IPv4. So
Mm-hmm.
it is Internet Protocol version 4.
Mm-hmm.
So these IPFS actual CIDF blocks we are using.
Okay.
So nowadays they are like updating themselves. They are rare cases like out of 100 maybe one or two they are using like IPv6 addresses.
Yes,
So
yes,
but
yeah.
normally it will take like 5 to 10 years to migrate to IPv6. Now they are using only IPv4. So the abbreviation is Internet Protocol version 4.
Okay.
Uh, yeah.
Like how many like with your experience, how many class of IPs IP versions have you seen like in general?
Yeah,
Like
in general, we are following like we have like multiple IP when we come into networking. So we have multiple type of classes like
mhm.
class A, class B, and class C.
Okay,
So
what are the use for class A, class B, class C?
yeah, uses like companies like software companies and lot of private companies,
Okay.
they use class A.
Okay.
Like you see when we create a VNet,
Mm-hmm.
and we will give a CIDR block like CIDR means like classless inter domain routing, right?
Okay.
So
Yes, yes.
so we will give like 10 dot 0 dot 0 dot 0 dot forward slash 16, right? So
Mm-hmm.
for forward slash 16 we will get like how many IPs? um, uh, like 65,536 IPs, right?
Right, right, right.
So when we created a VNet, actually I'm a part of the team itself. So
Mm-hmm.
networking, when they need the guidance, actually I guided them. So
Okay.
they need like 65,000 IPs, so etc.
Okay.
So we created like multiple subnets,
Okay.
like
So, do we actually need 65,000 IPs in the organization? Do we actually need
not
like?
not not really, but
Okay.
we are getting it is like it is not chargeable, so people are doing like that, but
Okay.
it's not a good practice actually.
Mm-hmm.
So
Great,
when you
great, great.
come when we created the subnet, so we given like 10.0.0.0 forward slash 24. So it's
Okay.
like 255 256 IPs we are getting for
Right,
the
right.
each, right?
Yes, yes. It's like
uh,
32
so,
minus 32 minus 25. Whatever the number we give,
yeah,
it will come
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Okay. Have you
yeah.
also worked on like
So
VNet peering?
yeah, VNet peering, when VNet peering, like for example, we have remote servers,
Okay.
for example, like different virtual machines.
Okay.
If we are if the different virtual machines, if they are in like East US2 and Central US2, so that it's like they are in two different regions, right?
Okay. Yes.
So in that scenario, the VNet peering comes into picture.
Okay.
So to create a communication between these VMs, which are standing in different locations in
Right.
over you. it's a different region.
Okay.
So like that. Um that's it.
Okay. Have you configured with your own, like, if today, tomorrow, like, if I call you and, if I ask you to, implement the VNet peering, would you be able
Yeah.
to do it, right?
Yeah, we yes, yes, I
Yes,
can
yes.
able
Okay.
to, actually normally we do that, and
Okay.
like IP addresses, the actually the I want to answer a small answer like before question. When we create a subnet, we have to give the static block is same for VNet and subnet.
Right, right.
The last two like
Mm-hmm.
two octets we have to change like third octet and fourth octet.
Right, right, right.
So when you come into 16, so when you come into /8,
Mm-hmm.
the three octets will work and the first octet will be static.
Right, right. Like, have you worked on like service endpoint? Like, the about, service endpoint, right?
Yes. So for example, when we come into when we want to take service on practice actually. So for example, I want to we have actually we don't use mostly we don't use service endpoints because
Mm-hmm.
we are a product based company. So normally what I have the knowledge about it is like when we create a web app like we do create not .NET based web apps. So the users they are directly hitting our server,
Right,
right?
right,
They are using our server, like they are like for example Flipkart. So they go directly www.flipkart.com. So they are directly using our network.
right.
So when I created subnet, so I will enable the service endpoint.
Okay,
So they cannot directly hit the server directly. So
okay,
it is they only they can only hit the until load balancer or the firewall, so or the VNet IP address only they can connect.
okay,
So when we enable the service endpoint, so the mainly what it happens is Azure has a physical layer cables. It
okay.
is called Azure intranet.
Right.
The after VNet, the total connection, the traffic is flowing through Azure intranet. So that is the main backbone for Azure.
Okay. Right, right. Like, so, like, I have an application. I want it to make, like, I want to achieve the high availability of the application. Like, if any server goes down, I don't want to my application goes down as well. Like, I want to achieve highly availability. Like, so do you have any solution for that?
Yes, yes, I have a good knowledge about it actually. So
Okay.
when you come into high availability of application, for example, you can take it WhatsApp. So there
Okay.
is millions of users of WhatsApp. So for example, if I created a database in US East US two,
Okay.
so when you come into a real time scenario, so how it will be is
Mm-hmm.
like if the if you create a web app or any .NET based or Java based or Python based any web app in the say, East to West 2 location. So what it happens is like for example, just take a scenario like if that data center goes down
Okay.
due to issues like update domains, landfall domains, so something like that. So if that data center goes down, so normally the user will not access the application, right? So you will get error
Yes.
because when he hit the server, so the server is not connecting to the database,
Okay. Right,
the
right.
remote database, right?
Right, right.
In that case, what we do is normally uh, we will create the same setup, like all the same things we will create in the other data center also,
Mm-hmm.
like same virtual machine with the same data disk, same storage details and everything all the setup what we created in H2S2 we will create in like central US or like in India you can take it as Mumbai,
Mm-hmm.
so or Hyderabad you can take it as. So the like multiple locations we will create,
Mm-hmm.
and in this scenario now the load balance will come into picture. So
Right.
when we put the load balancer in frame,
Right.
so the user will hit only the IP of load balancer.
Right.
So we are nowhere mentioning the IP address of the East West 2 server or IP address of Mumbai server or like that.
Got it.
So
Got it. Got it.
got it right.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when he hit the load balancer, in frame. So what it will do is, for example, it will connect. Actually, there is a big topic in this load balancer, because there are models like performance issue, quantity issue, like latency issue. You know, right? Latency issue.
Got
So
it. Got
this
it.
what this load balancer is do is, if you create a US is to priority one when you create a load balancer,
Okay.
and Mumbai two and Hyderabad three, right? So this load balancer will transfer the user traffic. So we given the UCS to priority one, right? So it will
Yes, yes.
traffic
So
will
depending on,
divert.
got it, got it.
Yeah.
So
So
have you
and
worked on
for
AWS as well,
example,
right, Ramesh? Have you worked on AWS as well?
yeah. So when you come into AWS, actually I have a little bit knowledge, but I didn't work on it.
Okay. Fair, fair, fair,
So
fair.
I didn't work on AWS actually.
Okay, that's fair. That's
Only
fair.
I only Azure DevOps, Azure Infra, and automation.
That's fine. Like, okay. So have you worked on PowerShell as well, right? You have worked on.
Yes, yes, I have good knowledge about PowerShell,
Okay.
combination with ARM templates. So we do use these two Microsoft services normally for creating the resources and managing the resources in Azure Cloud.
Okay. So like if I ask some commands, you will be able to do, like, I have a scenario, like, I want to create some research groups. So like, would you be able to help me with the command?
You want to create a resource group, right? So
Yes,
resource
yes.
group, when if we want to create the resource group, so what we the command is like new hyphen az resource group hyphen name resource group name and hyphen location. So
Okay.
that
Like as well, I
so
want
so
to
so
I want to create a service account as well. Like, I
if you
want
want to, yeah.
service account.
Yeah, actually your video is not clear. I mean your audio is not clear. It is getting some
Okay, okay,
disturbance.
okay. Like, I want to create a storage account basically. So like, would you be able to help me with the command, like PowerShell commands?
Partial command for storage account is new. Sorry, yeah, new hyphen is the storage account. Yeah, also the all the details like if you want to create storage account, you have to give the like resource group name
Okay,
and location and SKU name
okay,
and the like V2 storage, yeah, like that storage details. So
okay.
all the details you have to mention. So what we do is normally when the client give his variables according to his requirements, so
Okay.
we create actually we do create actually.
Okay. So here is a scenario. Like, I want to connect to the Azure cloud from a local machine. Like, would you be able to do that with the PowerShell?
Yes, command for it is um, uh, login hyphen login hyphen AZ account
Okay.
hyphen tenant ID. So if you want to connect to tenant ID, if you want to connect to directly subscription, it is also possible.
Okay. Okay. Like okay. Got. Like, what are the storage types you have we have in the Azure?
Yeah, when you come into storage accounts, so what types of storages we have is like first one is containers and queues and files and shares. So the mostly we use like containers to storage data, and when you comes files and all those things and shares. So when you want to a data accessible for multiple users, so at that time you will use like files and shares. Normally we do
Okay.
use only containers in our
Okay.
organization.
Like,
Yeah,
have you configured CI/CD pipelines? Like,
yeah, we do configure
is
CI/CD
it, is it
pipeline.
like classic or YAML files, YAML way?
Uh, Mainly we use a YAML pipelines.
Okay.
Normally, what we do is when we get a client requirement, like for example, actually we have a oil and gas project. So actually, I am into like two three projects. So
Okay.
one project is oil and gas projects. So in that, like the remote users
Okay.
who is accessing like on-site who is working in on-site, so who want to use like virtual machines,
Okay.
so they need like Microsoft installation and Google Chrome installations on
Okay.
top of the virtual machine. So In that way, like
Got it. Like, okay. Have you worked on like here and templates? Like, as in the perspective of IAC infrastructure as code, like, have you worked on here and templates, or like, yeah, have you used Terraform?
uh, uh, normally it's easy to use for Terraform also and ARM templates also for creating resources,
Okay.
infrastructure as a code. So when we come into IaaS, like
Mm-hmm.
infrastructure as a service,
Okay.
so what Microsoft offering is
Mm-hmm.
like like when you come into there are like right, like infrastructure as service and platform as service and software service.
Okay.
Like service, the infrastructure only they are maintaining. Microsoft is maintaining.
Okay.
So so when you come into ARM, what we normally we have a we have a template directly.
Right. Right.
For example, we use VS Code for ARM template. Modifications, all those things.
Right. Right. Okay. So like, so what is an array? What is a string? You have an idea?
Yeah, array is like when we want to iterate like multiple things.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, you can take like uh, uh, dollar names equals to like multiple names. You can take like multiple things.
Okay.
So that is like declaration of array,
Mm-hmm.
and string is dollar name is equals to only the single bit. So
Okay.
yeah.
Like, have you created any web application through GUI? Like in your point of experience.
Yeah, web application. Actually, recently, what we did is we have a requirement from our client.
Okay.
So they need .NET based web application.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, we configured it.
Okay.
So what we did is uh, .NET based web application we created like. Now you need the procedure how to do through GUI, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah, so yeah, got it. So what we can do normally in this scenario, what we can do is we can do RDP to the remote server,
Mm-hmm.
and we can actually every server is a VM in the backend. So
Mm-hmm.
every VM is a server in the backend, right?
Mm-hmm.
So uh, so every for example, we want to create a web app or we want to create a storage. So first of all, we have to install something on some softwares on it. So
Okay.
it will replicate it. So in this web app case, what we have to enable the IaaS.
Okay.
So Internet Information Service. We have to install this enable this IaaS, and by opening the C drive and inet pub application, and you can open the www root application, and whatever the code developer like whatever the code given by developer, you can put it on it, and you can do a RDP to the if you give the IP address. So IP address is number. So what we do is we do actually DNS mapping, and we give the domain name to the client.
Understood, Ramesh. So, as part of diverse perspective, have you worked on Docker, Kubernetes, Ansible sort of tools? Have you worked on? Do you have an experience on them? Like,
I actually container apps actually normally